Husband demanded I quit my job to be a stay-at-home wife, then secretly cheated with a 20-year-old and stole our savings. Now he wants me back when I filed for divorce. Hi everyone. I love my husband and he's an amazing man, but we have flaws like everyone else. We both aged out of foster care and met at a youth fulfillment program, basically a work camp that helps kids with no families learn the fundamentals for living, finances, certificates, as needed. We were both 18 and stayed in contact after the program ended. He made it clear he liked me, but I was truly petrified of men at that point in my life due to past experiences and rejected him a bit harshly. I reached out to apologize and we became friends. Then a year or two later I saw he posted on Snapchat he was in my area. I asked if he would want to go on a date so I could practice being comfortable around guys and he agreed. He never made a move, never touched me, never made weird eye contact. If I said no he didn't ask a second time, not even as a suggestion. We went on these platonic dates for months with nothing happening, and one day I asked for a hug and then asked for a kiss and he asked me to be his girlfriend. We got married a year after and our 7-year anniversary is around the corner. We agreed we would not even think about having kids until we were older since both of us were the product of young parents. We've really just only focused on getting by on using as little money as possible and saving up every dime to buy a house. Thankfully, we got our house a few months ago and we were both able to quit our second jobs and for the first time only work regular 9-5s. Yay! I've discovered I really like gardening and baking and I love having a real home. We have been discussing adding to our family by having a baby and I feel very ready to be a mom. Scared still, yes, but ready. But my husband brought up how sad I would be if I had to quit since I've worked so hard. I told him I had zero plans to quit, I would only take maternity leave. Plus my company allows maternal and paternal remote options for 1 year after birth, so I can just work from home if needed. I know it's a lot to do with a newborn but giving up the security of my paycheck is simply not an option. He told me this was what we worked for, to make our own perfect family opposite from what ours were like and I was blindsiding him by changing my plans and I told him no plan has changed, I can have a career and be a mom. Plenty of women do it. He doesn't have to quit his job to be a dad so why should I? He said it wouldn't work for a baby's needs and I told him okay, since I make more money than you do why don't you quit and I go back to work remotely after healing from birth. That way we have both hands on deck and we don't have a severe loss of income as I make $89K/year and he makes $52K/year. He mentioned that if I trusted him fully this shouldn't be a problem. I told him I trust him but I don't trust our current economy, but I left out that I really do genuinely think quitting my job with no savings, wiped out by getting the house, and relying on a man is absolutely stupid. He had plans made previously with his parents and had to leave so we said we would pick the conversation back up when he gets home but he's very upset. Madder than I have ever seen him and I don't understand why he just assumed I would quit. Not only do I not understand it, but it makes me trust him a lot less than I did yesterday. I have a bad habit of running for the hills when problems come up and not gonna lie, this is making me really nervous. Thank you for reading all of this if you have. I'm open ears to what could be going through his mind or why he is thinking like this, really just doesn't seem logical to me. He's been watching all of these videos of stay-home wives/girlfriends and do feel like this is influencing him a lot. Edit, there was an update to this post. We are no longer together. Update 1, it's been a few days since he came home and told me he met a girl at work and she's a better woman than me, and that she has a son already and will be a stay-at-home wife or girlfriend or whatever the fuck. He gets his happy ending I guess. He texted me right before I got off work and asked me to pick up food from one of our usual date night spots. I got home and noticed his car had boxes in it and a woman I didn't know. I tried opening the door but it was locked and she just looked at me. What little was left of our savings, he took. And both of our cats. I didn't see this coming at all. I haven't told any of my friends yet. His adoptive parents have been dropping me off food that I can't even force myself to eat. I haven't cried yet. I'm kind of still in shock. I wish I had a family to run to. But for now the internet has to do. I haven't answered any of his calls or texts. He keeps trying to check in, ask if I'm okay. How the fuck would I be okay? I never thought he would cheat. I asked him to promise if there was ever someone else he would just tell me as soon as he knew, but they've been together at least 6 months. So while he was calling me selfish for not wanting to put in my 2 weeks and be a stay-at-home wife, he was dating her the entire time. Planning a future with her the entire time. I feel stupid. I should have taken everyone's advice more literally. When I asked him to go to therapy he wouldn't. His parents think he's have some type of mental break. I should have stayed afraid of him and avoided him. I should have chosen a better outcome for myself. I just feel like the same girl that no one wants to love anymore all over again. I know what he did isn't my fault. I know I could never stop him and really do I want a man who doesn't want me? Never. But that just doesn't stop it from hurting. Update 2, really want to say thank you from the bottom of my heart to all of the people who reached out to me with well wishes. Especially other spouses who experienced similar. It helped so much more than you could ever know. There has been a few things that have happened, and honestly I'm exhausted in every way possible so the input from folks has really been useful in organizing my thoughts and keeping an open mind. I couldn't help it but for days I compared us and wondered what the fuck he could have been thinking until I realized she's a carbon copy of his biological mother, or at least the stories he heard about her since she died when he was 5. I hate that I feel bad for him still, even after what he's done, but we offered him support for his thoughts, we urged him to go to therapy, I even offered to pay for it myself, and he was too prideful. I lost both of my parents too, at an older age with even more core memories with them, So it wasn't a boat he was in alone. But he chose to act like it was and wallow in self-pity. He called me on our 7-year wedding anniversary, minutes after midnight, whispering apologies and saying he feels so guilty. I asked for what, and he just said, well, you know what we're going through. I told him, no, it's what you're doing. We are going through nothing. I was abandoned by my husband, exposed to God knows what while you were fucking her and coming back home to me. We were still having sex like every single day, so I made sure he knew just how disgusting I thought he was. Then he got pissed and told me he only started cheating because I couldn't follow his lead. Sir, look where you led yourself. Our entire marriage I've pushed him career-wise, hell, the job he is right now I applied to on his behalf. Meanwhile I'm pretty sure he doesn't, or didn't even know what my full job title is. I pushed him to reach out to the adoptive parents when he started getting family obsessed, but neither of us were ready for a kid. He went on about how I broke my promise first when I decided I didn't want to be a real mom by not quitting. That I was turning his adoptive parents against him because they are refusing to meet his new girlfriend. He blamed me again and then had the nerve to say that this could all be put on pause if I can learn how to make decisions that benefit a family and not myself. I asked point blank if he was insinuating that we could get back together if I quit my job. He told me, yes, I will always love you, but you make things more difficult than needed. I hung up and blocked him on everything. Spent the rest of the night hugging wine in the bathtub and wondering what the hell kind of person I had been sharing my heart with. The next day he went public with their relationship, posting a photo to Instagram, and most of our mutual friends reached out, with my closest friends commenting less than kind things on the photo. As it turns out, he and his new girlfriend have been together for 7, almost 8 months. She is 20, her son is around 2. I reached out to her ex, the father of her son, who she had left to be with my ex-husband. She moved out in the middle of the day and took their kids, so he was just as blindsided, if not more, than I was. We met up and went for a walk, stopped by a bar. Literally cried, laughed, hugged each other, sang songs way too loudly and sobbed in public like a lunatic, but it helped so much. We also made sure to exchange evidence for any court battles. I'm a little iffy towards him for now, considering that they had quite the age gap. She was 17 when they met and he was 26. He said she lied about her age and they met at a college party, and the next thing he knew she was pregnant. He gave her money for an abortion, but she came back with baby clothes instead, so he tried to do the right thing and moved her in with him. Also, she's not actually allergic to cats. She just hates them. She also was very aware he was married and has been to the house multiple times. He admitted he had cheated on her before their son had been born, while she was pregnant, but that she didn't tell him she knew until after she had moved out with their son. He said he was still texting her every day, not just about their son, but also about possibly working things out. He wants her back, but she seems to be head over heels for my husband, just like I was. I told him good luck, but yeah, not the direction I'm going in at all. This time he made his bed and he will lay in it for good. Our chances of reconciliation are 0. I have never accepted someone back into my life after a betrayal, and it won't start now. At first I wanted to make sure the divorce was going to be short and as simple as possible, even if it meant giving up some things, but after that conversation, I have decided I'm fighting tooth and nail for everything I can possibly get. I live in a no-fault divorce state, but my state does have special laws for adultery, can still sue for it here, and the divorce attorney I've consulted said it looks pretty good that I won't have to pay him alimony. He also told me to look into every single banking transaction in my accounts, as he did not think they got an apartment on his income without some extra cushion, aka my money, and he was right. Last year my ex-husband told me he got really into stock trading and if he could invest some of my money as well. Guess who was never doing any stock trading, and the screenshots he showed me were all fake / pulled from somewhere else, and he had been sending that money to his girlfriend or saving it for their new place. I've been pretty enraged since finding that out. He asked his adoptive parents to ask me to allow him visitation rights to see the cats, after he had to give them back once he realized his new GF is allergic to them. I relayed that he needs to first run me my fucking money, and then take it up with the judge. I didn't think visitation was a real thing for pets, but according to my lawyer it very much is. I officially filed for divorce yesterday, and he emailed me quite the colorful email about how selfish and bitter I am for not putting my pride aside and being so fast to file for divorce and refusing to let him stop by the house to see the cats, that now he's accusing me of cheating. I read somewhere that you never really know someone until you're divorcing them, and I can truly confirm that is true. I felt like you guys deserve some sort of update considering how much support I was given. I can't share more details for now, but really thank you all again. Next story. Mom stole my grandmother's Christmas-themed engagement ring and gave it to my brother's fiancée. When I demanded it back, my family called me selfish. I've been receiving messages nonstop from my maternal family and my siblings, and it has me second-guessing if what I'm doing is going too far. This past Christmas, I saw on social media that my brother proposed to my future Sil, who we'll call Amy. I was initially happy for them until I saw the ring, which Amy posted photos of. I immediately recognized it as my grandmother's engagement ring, and phoned my mom to ask if she had given my brother the ring as a placeholder. She brushed me off, saying that no, she gave him the ring on purpose because I hate Christmas and Amy loves it. Context: I had always been closer to my paternal side of the family, especially my grandma. My grandmother passed away last year, and the only inheritance I got is her engagement ring. I was not meant to receive this ring until I'm 30. My grandmother loved Christmas, and it showed in her engagement ring. It's an emerald cut diamond with tiny circle rubies and oval emeralds to look like holly. Also, I didn't always hate Christmas. 2 years back, I lost my BF of 10 years, my childhood BFF, and my sorority sister in a car accident coming home from a Christmas party that we all attended. I've been in therapy, struggling with survivor's guilt, but I'm doing better now. I told my mom that the ring technically was meant to be mine and that she couldn't take it. She told me that she had a box of my grandmother's jewelry and I could just pick something else. I was stewing for a few days before contacting my paternal uncle, who is the executor. He was furious and told me that my mom had said she was going to give me the ring as a Christmas gift. He then said he could be in touch with a lawyer if I wanted to press charges. We talked for a bit more before hanging up. Armed with this information, I texted my mom, brother, and future Sil, saying that I had been in touch with my uncle and that I would press charges if the ring was not returned to either me or my uncle. My brother tried to say he really wanted to use the ring, that since I hated Christmas that I didn't deserve it. I let them text me, using their threats as future evidence. I told them they had a week to return the ring or I'd follow through with the police. Now, my mother's side of the family, as well as my other siblings, are hounding me. They all think I'm blowing things up. I'm not, I know I'm not, but with how everybody is acting I feel like I'm going crazy. Update 1. Hey y'all. Before we get into the update, there are a few points I want to make clear that have been brought up from my last point. First, my mom and paternal grandmother were on good terms before her passing. They weren't besties by any means, but they were kind to each other, hence why my mother got a box of her jewelry, which mostly consists of brooches, but does offer a few of her better pieces like her locket and a charm bracelet. Second, my father passed of a heart condition the year I graduated middle school, which is why he's not dealing with my mom. Since his death, my paternal family has really tried to bridge the gap he left, hence why I'm so close with them. Now, time for the update. The day after I posted, Amy, future Sil, texted me privately and asked me to meet up with her in secret. We organized a meeting for the next day at one of the local diners to grab lunch and talk. Meeting her was weird, since I didn't know how she would gauge the situation. Amy has never been mean-spirited, just blunt, not the rude kind of blunt either, she's just a woman of a few words kind of deal. A few of the comments said she was the odd for accepting it, but the fact is she hasn't been in the family long enough to know about my connection to the ring. She had only met my grandmother once or twice before my grandmother got sick. Once we sat down, she told me to tell her about my grandmother. Which, I initially thought was weird, but I got to telling her some childhood stories about my grandmother. How I would help her pick tomatoes from her garden to make fresh sauce, how we used to go on her porch and just watch the sunset, how during Christmas Mass she always held my hand walking up/down the large steps, since the crowds would often lead to me being separated. Long story short, Amy seemed reminiscent about the situation before she immediately apologized. She hadn't known about the ring, just that it was a family ring and that it meant she was one of us now. When she had seen the text, she confronted my brother, who brushed it off as just being dramatic. It's not like it's the only piece she has, which is true. I actually do have my grandmother's pearl earrings and her pearl necklace, but that was a sweet 16 gift, not inheritance. That got Amy mad and she went to stay with her family. She apparently had been in my shoes before, having been gypped by her older relatives regarding her own grandmother's inheritance. She returned the ring and said she plans to break off the engagement. I told her to really think about that. She then smiled and said that she couldn't be a part of a family that was so backhanded and cruel. We talked for a bit more and left on good terms. My brother really dropped the ball. She was a good one. Yesterday, my mom called me and told me I had gone too far and now Amy doesn't want to be a part of the family. I asked her what she expected when Amy was a good-hearted person who probably wouldn't want to marry into a family of liars and thieves. She said my brother was distraught when he came home and found she had left with her things. I told her maybe if they didn't try to take my ring, then maybe Amy wouldn't look at them like they were bad people and maybe she'd want to still marry my brother. My mom called me a slew of names before hanging up. I asked my uncle that, now that I have the ring, could I just keep it? My uncle said that was fine, since he knew I had a safe that I could keep it in. It's a fancy, fingerprint one where I keep my registered firearm and legal documents. He just made sure to document me receiving the ring so that this way he didn't go nutty trying to find it for my 30th birthday. I now wear it on my middle finger, since it's a little too big for my ring finger. I went on a date with my we've been dating 9/10 months, partner this morning, and they loved it. I plan to post a photo of us tonight or tomorrow, see how much I can stir the pot. Thanks to all who supported me, I knew I wasn't crazy. I've been the least favorite kid for years and I've just gotten used to having to share or give up things. But, my grandmother's ring was my hill to die on, and depending on how their behavior is, I may go NC, am currently LC due to this drama. Update 2. Okay, a few things I wanted to say before I finally tell you guys how everything wrapped up. Number 1, and most importantly, I am so sorry for using that word. I had no idea the origin of the word gypped was derived from gyped as in gypsies, and is a slur against the Romani people. I apologize for using the word and will phase it from my vocabulary. I meant no offense by using it in my post and really do apologize if I did offend someone. Secondly, I took the advice of some people and didn't block my family, which worked in my favor. Lastly, I really appreciate all the support I have received. It means the world to me. So, the top thing I should mention is about Amy. She recently moved, wanting a mostly fresh start. Her and I are still friends on social media, since we share common hobbies and interests. However, she wanted a mostly clean break, and only remains in LC with me, her cousin, and her best friend. According to her pictures on social media, she's doing pretty well for herself. I am so proud of her. Next thing is my family. After a few days of posts, I kept receiving texts, emails, and letters from family. Yes, I got letters. That surprised me too. I got annoyed at all the harassment and sent all the screenshots of my conversations with my mom, brother, the group chat with Em and Amy, and my uncle, all with highlighted parts that show they were wrong. Suffice to say that most of the family iced them out. The only ones who are still on my mom and brother's sides are my youngest sibling. I don't think they have a choice since they still live with mom and are being forced to, and our one cousin who lives hours away, one of those alpha giga Chad men the internet loves to mock. So, I'm not too worried anymore. Finally, me. I'm doing great. I recently started sewing since I want to start getting into cosplay, and I began doing yoga every morning. My partner and I still have date nights often, mostly consisting of board games, video games, or movies. Who has money to go out in this economy lol. We even looked into rescuing a bird. My partner is allergic to dander and they already suffer cause of my other pets, so this pet is for them. Right now, my mom and brother haven't done anything illegal, but I did get security cameras just in case. The harassment has stopped, my partner and I are happy, Amy is doing well, and life is sweet. I think this is it. My mom and brother have finally realized they lost this fight, and I couldn't be happier. Smile.